guys, it's Sarah. I just wanted to do a quick devotion or message with you guys per se that I've had on my heart for a little while, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. So it's about new wine. So Hillsong United has a song called New Wine, and I've been loving it, and it's been on repeat in my car and in my headphones. And as I really think about this song, I started to ask God, like, what do you have for me out of this song, And the lyrics are, in the crushing, in the pressing, you are making new wine. In this soil I now surrender, you are breaking new ground. And then later on it says, Jesus, bring new wine out of me. So in my life right now, I can relate to that because it's like in the crushing times, in the times where, your head's barely above water, and those times where you're being pressed and tried and tested, because my whole life I've heard there's no testimony without a test, right? So in those times that, you're kneeling and praying and asking something out of God, and those times where you're weeping and expecting something out of God, and the time of healing and the joy comes in the morning kind of times, he's making new wine out of you. So I kind of think of the potter and the clay, when you're on that table, that turntable, and God is, the artist, and you're just a ball of clay, and he is molding you in that pressing time, he's making something out of you. So the same with this, the grapes, as in this kind of like metaphor, we are the grapes, and God is making us become wine, and this fine wine, the fact that he cares so much for us and loves us that much that he would have us go through this process to become something beautiful for his kingdom. And even though the time is a crushing time, and the time, that you're going through, it may be hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel, God has a purpose for that, and all things work together for his good and his glory and his kingdom. So you just have to trust God, believe in God, and hold on tight to him. Even if the waves are above your head, hold tight to him, and he will give you joy, he will give you peace, he will be that comforter for you, like his word says. And so with this new wine, so as you go through this transition from grapes being broken down, so you're being broken down, but to come out beautiful, God is having you go through this time where he's showing you who he is. So then you're left with something beautiful of his. And so once you are that fine wine, once you are that wine, Matthew 9:17 in the NIV says, neither do people pour new wine into old wineskins. If they do, the skins will burst, the wine will run out, and the skins will be ruined. So it's saying like long story short, they end up putting it in a new wineskin. So you can't have old wine in a new wineskin. So for me, that I think of automatically is the old wineskin as your old life. That life of, maybe anxiety, that life of not trusting God, that life of sin, that life of, regret, that life of whatever it may be that is keeping you from God. That's the old wineskin. To me, this is what I'm symbolizing. And you are now this new wine. You cannot be poured back into that lifestyle. You cannot overcome anxiety and then put yourself back into a nervous breakdown or overthinking, because you will burst. And God has better for you. God has a new container for you, a new life for you. And as you go through this cycle as a Christian, you begin to realize it. In my life, I dealt with anxiety when I was 13 and depression. And now that I've overcome that, I realize that I can't be in an old wineskin of anxiety and depression. I now cling to God when I start to feel an anxious thought or feeling. I'm like, Lord, I need you right now. Be my comforter. And I don't know if that's something that you guys are struggling with today, but I know God will be there for you. Or if you're in a time where you're like, I'm grapes, straight up, I'm grapes, and God is making me wine, or you're clay and God is molding you into the person he's called you to be. And throughout this process, he's not left you nor forsaked you. It says that in his word, he will never leave you nor forsake you. And it's such a beautiful thing to have a God who loves us that much. It truly is. So something I want you to take away from this is, if you are in the great stage, God will bring you through that and hold your hand through that so you come out wine. And if you are that wine, remember, you cannot be put back into old wineskins. Those certain situations you cannot be put back in. But God has a new container for you. And all this will bring him glory. And he is there for you. And so yeah, that's something that I just wanted to share, something on my heart. So I hope you guys took something away from this. I know I surely have. And just with this song. And Jesus is making new wine out of me. And I'm so excited to see what the future has for you as well as for myself with this new wine. And thank you guys for listening. I hope you got something out of it, like I said, and see you next time.